Uh, so yeah, um, yeah. This isn't really the main part of today, so I'll just be playing a few songs real quick. This first one, my dad really loved. Dee 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 dee. Do 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 do. Dee 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 dee. And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. God bless you, please, Mrs. Robinson. Heaven knows a place for those who pray. Hey, 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 hey. We'd like to know a little bit about you for our files. We'd like to help you learn to help yourself. Look around you, all you see are sympathetic eyes. So around the grounds until you feel at home. And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. God bless you, please, Mrs. Robinson. Heaven knows a place for those who pray. Hey, 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 hey. Hide it in a hiding place where no one ever goes. Put it in your pantry with your cupcakes. It's a little secret, just the Robinsons' affair. Most of all, got to hide it from the kids. Cuckoo, true, Mrs. Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. God bless you, please, Mrs. Robinson. Heaven knows a place for those who pray. Hey, 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 hey. Sitting on a sofa on a Sunday afternoon, going to the candidates' debate. Laugh about it, shout about it when you got to choose. Every way you look at it, you lose. Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? Nation turns its only eyes to you. Whoa, what's that you say, Mrs. Robinson? Joe and Joe have left and gone away. Hey, hey, hey. So yeah, when I was younger, my dad was nice enough to take me to a Green Day concert. So here's a little Green Day. I text the postcard sent to you, it goes through. Sending all my love to you. You are the moonlight of my life every night. Giving all my love to you. My beating heart belongs to you. I walked for miles till I found you. I'm here to honor you. If I lose everything in the fire, sending all my love to you. With every breath that I am worth here on earth, I'm sending all my love to you. So if you dare to second guess, you can rest assured that all my love's for you. My beating heart belongs to you. I walked for miles till I found you. I'm here to honor you. If I lose everything in the fire, I'm sending all my love to you. My beating heart belongs to you. I walked for miles till I found you. I'm here to honor you. If I lose everything in the fire, did I ever make it through? All right. All right. The next song I'm going to be playing is called Featherstone by the Paper Kites. And for those of you who are looking to support, tomorrow night, talent show, 7 p.m. This is what I'm playing. Wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart. Wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart. When you go, what you leave is a work of art. On my chest, on my heart. She went out to the hay in the morning grace. Went out, got lost in the tall edge maze. Where'd you go, where'd you go, why'd you leave this place? On my heart, on my face. And my love is yours, but your love's not mine. So I'll go, but we know we'll see you down the line. And we'll hate what we've lost, but we'll love what we find. Oh, I'm feeling fine. We made it to the coastline. Oh, 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 oh. Past all the signs of a slow decline. Live like your love wasn't meant for mine. Now you're gone to a different life, to the loneliest side. Wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart. Wake up to the sound of your fleeting heart. When you go, what you leave is a work of art. On my chest, on my heart. And my love is yours, but your love's not mine. So I'll go, but we know, see you down the line. And we'll hate what we've lost, but we'll love what we find. Oh, I'm feeling fine. We made it to the coastline. Oh, 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 oh. The next song that I'll be playing is called Lost in My Mind by The Head and the Heart. Put your dreams away for now, I won't see you for some time. I am lost in my mind, I get lost in my mind. Mom once told me, you're already home when you feel loved. I am lost in my mind, I get lost in my mind. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, my brother, your wisdom is all that I need. Oh, my brother, don't you worry about me. Don't you worry, don't you worry, don't worry about me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. As that brick lane coming, as your engine run, is that bridge getting built? Are your hands getting filled? Won't you tell me, my brother? 'Cause there are stars up above, and we can start moving forward. Ooh, 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 ooh. As that brick lane coming, as your engine run, is that bridge getting built? Are your hands getting filled? Won't you tell me, my brother? 'Cause there are stars up above, and we can start moving forward. Ooh, 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 ooh. Lost in my mind, lost in my mind. I get lost in my mind. Lost, I get lost, I get lost. Oh, I get lost. Oh, I get.
Thanks, AJ. Boy, Lester could sure pull a crowd, couldn't he? Wow, this is very impressive. Just a few lyrics from from Warren Zevon. Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly called When All Is Said and Done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Hold me in your thoughts. Take me to your dreams. Touch me as I fall into view. When the winter comes, keep the fires lit, and I'll be right next to you. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lawrence Browdy, and along with two other speakers on this substantial list we have, thank you for your patience. We are longtime members and on the board of directors of the Sholem community. We have a community organization and a Sunday school in West Los Angeles, and Sophia and AJ were students there. And Lester and Angela found us 20-some years ago and have been staunch supporters and over the years. Lester, being a person who was very interested in politics and social action and intellectual matters, really loved to come and participate in our discussions and to listen to our speakers. But I just want to take a moment to talk about love. Because the reason that Angela and Les came to us was because we have a program that we do every year. It's called the December Dilemma, and it addresses issues that come up between people of different traditions and backgrounds and ethnicities and whatnot, genders. And they came at a point in their life. Well, I want to say it this way. Lester and I come from a background where the expectations were very high for us in a traditional American Jewish background to marry someone Jewish and to make sure that our kids had a Jewish consciousness. And then Lester met Angela. And he was nuts about her, which he remained for the rest of his life. But there were conflicts. There was difficulty. And Angela rightfully wanted to celebrate her traditions. And so, again, I can relate to this. Having a Christmas tree, observing traditions that we didn't grow up with was a difficult thing. And so Angie told me that she sent him away on vacation a couple of years so that she could have this uninterrupted time with her family. But it didn't really solve the conflict, and so one of our members, I think Jan Goodman, who's going to speak, brought them to Sholem for our December Dilemma discussion, and from that point forward, it seems that they began to be able to find a way to really respect and love each other's backgrounds and traditions, to the point where a year came when apparently Angie's family was not going to come and visit. And Lester said, and she said, well, we won't do a big deal at Christmas this year, and we won't have a tree, whatever. And Lester said, oh no, we're going to have a tree. We're going to observe all your traditions. We're going to do these things. And this is what I mean by love. And this was a love that sustained them for all the time that I've known them. And I have great respect for the relationship that they had. And that's really all I want to say to introduce our first speakers, Angie, Sophia, and AJ.
Should I do this?
Yeah.
Okay. A man that came once in a blue blood moon. My darling husband, Lester Silverman, you are an inspiration to me in so many ways. You were born in Brooklyn, New York, of Jack and Yetta Silverman. As the 4 children preceded by Alice, Kenneth, and your twin sister Renee, by only a few minutes. He was the youngest. You grew up in Long Beach, Long Island, with a large extended family from both sides of your mom and dad. How many were there on both sides?
9 on my mother's and 6 on my father's.
As I mentioned, a large family. This provided a large network of family and many joyous social occasions and interaction. Les, my darling, you lived close to the Atlantic Ocean with a beautiful beach and canals. The local community atmosphere had a lot of Jewish environment with tasty delis, a synagogue your family belonged to and could walk to. Your mother was a pious woman who provided a conservative kosher household. The local school was a source of pride for you, my darling, including Billy Idol, who was in a grade level with your brother Kenneth. What did I say? Well, you see, that's why I have you guys here to correct me. Thank you. Well, you'll have to yell it out louder. Okay.
No, you have to say it into the microphone.
This mic is too high. It's sort of, well, maybe it's not too, I don't know. Okay. So, moving right along. Tragedy, however, struck when Lester was 14 years old. His father died from a fall while fixing his sister-in-law's roof. Your family, Les, fell into the aftermath of hardship, where your mom, as your mommy, as you called her, had to find jobs that included babysitting, among other level entry work. Yetta was a feisty, resilient person who labored tirelessly to keep her children moving forward. Even when Les and I were married, she would call, and her first question was always, "Are you making money?" Now you know where that came from, that whole thing, right? That was the work ethic which she had held for her children. Upon completing high school, Les sought for higher education and ultimately went to SUNY and the undergrad in sciences. When completion of undergrad was done, Les decided to look through his own heart and see what he wanted to do. And he moved to Southern California, where he fulfilled a thing of much beauty and import. He embraced the challenge of others who needed help to raise their standard of living. This was the focus of his work, with low-level pay for the farm workers' union to be created. He lived in their humble sleeping quarters and worked feverishly to gain attention of those who could create a labor union for them. In the course of this high endeavor, he had the great pleasure of meeting and working under the leadership of Cesar Chavez. This part of his life went on until his early 30s, whereupon he decided that he would like to set his horizons on the goal of getting married and having a family. In mulling through how this might happen, he had to abandon his work that he loved so much and to come up with something that would get him this goal. He talked with his Uncle Joe.
Sorry.
Is he
This
calling?
This happened at the funeral too. We are just cursed for timely cell phone interruptions.
Uncle Joe, is that your call? So, and he asked him what should he do, because he was already getting older, and should he pursue higher education? And his Uncle Joe said, "You're going to get older anyway." And that, my husband has repeated that so often, and I thought, good for him. He did that. So he did apply, and he was accepted at Berkeley University into the optometry program. This was a very, very, what shall I say, challenging opportunity for him, because he also had to work and he had to do this very, very demanding type of education. But he managed, he prevailed, he had the strength that his mother had already shown. And when he completed that, he went back to New York to become an official optometrist through the legal matters that have to be done. And he worked there for a while, and at one point decided that he was going to go to Jamaica. And I don't know, Kenneth, if you were already going to Jamaica in those days, but we can talk about that later. But anyway, he did go to Jamaica. He went to hedonism, okay? Not a bad way to go to Jamaica. And there you go. And lo and behold, just quite by chance, if we'd like to call it that, some would not call it chance, he did run into someone. His friend Jeffrey Lieberman, who was his classmate at Berkeley, happened to be there as well. And they waved at each other. Jeffrey's like, "Hello, Lester." And they immediately were reflecting on old times and all the rest of it. And it was Jeffrey who persuaded him to move to Los Angeles, where Jeffrey had his practice.
Yeah, no, I quite favor being alive, thanks.
And so he made that move. And in fact, Jeffrey Lieberman's wife would often say, "Angela, had my husband not seen him there on that beach, this all wouldn't have happened." So, but anyway, I know Lauren's here. She's hearing me speak about her. So after that, what Les decided was that he was going to not only work for an optometrist in Los Angeles, but he would seek out to try to become a businessman in doing so. His first place was in West Covina, where he was the optometrist working with the optician and doing, the eye exams and so on. He enjoyed that work because he felt the independence of it. And when I met him, he was deep into the middle of that work. But he wanted more, because Les wants more. He has always wanted more. And more of the good things that he needed and deserved, and also that where he liked to help. Anyway, he then found a practice in Hollywood, regular Hollywood, not West Hollywood. And there he set up his own practice. And that was it was a good practice, but it was a very, very busy practice. So he worked long hours, and that proceeded to be the next phase of our lives, because at that point, Les and I would have been married. And I know a lot of you are going to ask me, how did it happen that someone in West Covina that was living in Silver Lake might have come to know me? Well, Les took a journey to Marina del Rey, and at a wine and cheese party there, he and I saw each other, and then the next day he asked me for a date. The date was for breakfast. He went home at lunch, and then there was another date for evening dinner. Then he went home, and then there was another date, and there was another date, and there was another date. And the only time he wasn't seeing me was when he went to visit Kenneth in Jamaica. So that was a week. And then he came back, and we continued to see each other. Then we went to see, Les invited me to take a trip with him to Germany, and he suggested we stop at Lisa's and Frank's place. And they sent us off on a nice journey. We had a beautiful time in Europe. And I will say that that's when, if you can travel with someone, you can probably live with them. And I'll just say this because it's something that always used to crack me up. We were in Prague, and we were going to a restaurant that Les had heard about from a friend of his at 7 o'clock, and we set out, and we're in the medieval roads where everything is so tight. You can't barely move. Les is looking at the time, and it was getting late. And so he was driving faster and faster, and he said, Angela, look at the signs. And I started laughing really loudly, and he says, why are you laughing? I said, first of all, you're driving so fast I can barely see the signs. And I said, secondly, the signs are in Czechoslovakian. And hello. So that sort of tells you how it goes, right? Anyway, after all these lovely years and these lovely children of ours, and this lovely community that he built up by, I don't know how, but you will tell me someday, he's on another assignment. Honey, we love you. I love you. The kids love you. Keep doing what you do, darling. Thank you.
So I didn't write anything in advance because my mother is significantly better at planning than me. Anyway, hearing all this stuff about my dad has made me think of a few things that I just thought I might share. My dad was great, and I loved him. But he was a total fanboy. Like, guys in this day and age, they geek out about bands. My dad geeked out about social justice. Like, no, Cesar Chavez was his idol. We were watching a documentary the week I left, which is the week before he died, on Daniel Ellsberg, and he literally went and showed me his golf bag that Daniel Ellsberg had signed. And he's like, Daniel Ellsberg signed my golf bag! And I'm like, oh, Daddy, you're so adorable. And then I remembered that when I was 16, I went to a Marilyn Manson concert, and Marilyn Manson touched my hand, and I died. So I can't actually judge. Nah. My dad had a few stories that he loved to tell, and he's not here, so I'm going to tell one. So because this is such a Spanish-speaking area, LA and everything, my dad took Spanish classes when I was younger. And he was asked to do a phrase where he had to say something someone wanted from him. And so he said, my daughter wants me to take her to Lucky's. I was probably 5 or 6 at the time, and Lucky's was a grocery store. Apparently, I really enjoyed grocery shopping as a child. Anyway, the Spanish instructor says back, well, you're lucky. My daughter is a teenager, and she just wants me to take her to Nordstrom's. Hell, she can leave me at home and just take the card. For after Christmas sales, which is where I bought my dress, that's basically what I did. I was like, hey, Daddy, can I have money? And he's like, sure, where are you going? And I'm like, the mall. And he's like, you want me to come? And I'm like, let's make a hard pass on that one. My dad also went nuts about saving money. After Christmas, me and AJ went to Pitch Perfect, the third one, and we found out that AMC has $5 movies on Tuesdays. I told my dad this, and I thought he was gonna have an aneurysm. He was so thrilled. Every Tuesday for the rest of my visit in January, we went to the movies. Hell.
For the
Oh, no. We didn't get popcorn, Sally. Are you kidding? My dad doesn't pay those prices. No, but I mean, that was my dad. He was an odd, funny, interesting man. He believed in equality, social justice. He is possibly the only man I know that was actually happy about the Me Too movement. So that's a pretty big accomplishment, I feel like, especially for his generation. Anything I told my dad, despite the fact that he was terrible at giving advice and absolutely terrible at a girl's perspective, he tried. He always tried. Whether it was breakups where my dad just kind of looked at me awkwardly and had no clue what to say, or I don't even know, anything really related to being a woman where my dad was like, yeah, maybe go ask your mom. But he tried and he was there. And that's all you can really want from somebody, is my dad was there and he loved me. And surely, Lester, you're up there looking down at me, thinking to yourself, right about now, hey, don't call me Shirley.
Hey everyone. Much like my sister, I didn't write anything either. Yeah, I don't know. My dad, gosh, such a role model. You know, he. God, to see everyone here and the love and support we get is just, it's amazing to know that he was such a great man. You know, yeah, I don't know. I love him. Love you, Dad. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next speaker is the Education Director of the Sholem Community and School, Herschel Hartman.
Earlier today, it was my honor to officiate at the cemetery observance for Les. And I noticed that symbolically and significantly, Les's grave is at the border between a Jewish section of Green Hill Cemetery and a non-Jewish section. In the decades I've known Les and his family, I've known Les to be a medical professional and a businessman and a family man and an activist in his home community, as this amazing crowd attests to. An activist in his home community and a leader in the secular Jewish Sholem community that celebrates intercultural families. A leader in the Sholem community while retaining contacts with traditional religious institutions. And all of it non-judgmental, all of it asserting his freedom to question everything, and while questioning, to express his own opinions, and expressing his own opinions calmly, respectfully, and lovingly. This is how I knew Les, and what I tried to learn from him with only some success. I'll miss the opportunity to have learned more. Our community comes together in large numbers on the evening before Yom Kippur, and as a group, we remember those we lost in the preceding year. Lester was very impressed with that, and I will ask you, as indicated, to join me. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember him. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember him. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember him. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember him. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember him. So long as we live, he too shall live, for he is now a part of us as we remember him.
Thanks, Herschel. Now I'd like to call on Ingo Werk, the Los Angeles District Governor of Rotary.
Within the context of Rotary, the most significant service organization in the world today, Les was an exceptional Rotarian. In his heart, he had deep roots in the core value of Rotary, service above self. A proud member of the very, very fine Rotary Club of Manhattan Beach, Les cared as much for his local community as he did for hurricane-ravaged Puerto Rico, or his tremendous expressed concern over ethnic cleansing in Myanmar. Les had a profound understanding of local and global issues of the humankind, for they are deep and they are wide, and the world on its side, and time is running backwards, and so is the tide. Ring them bells for the blind and the deaf. Ring them bells for all of us who are left. Ring them bells for the chosen few who judge the many when the game is through. Ring them bells from the top of the room, from the fortress, for the lilies that bloom. Oh, the lines are so long, breaking down the distance between right and wrong. Ring them bells, oh, Les, ring them bells. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'm calling on Les's old friend and also a member of our Sholem community, Jan Goodman.
Les and I go back many years, 40 years, in fact. I think that we met when I ran for Board of Education on an integration platform for the school board in 1978. And Les joined the campaign, and what he did was one of the things he does best, and that he joined as a fundraiser. Because as Jess Unruh used to say, money is the mother's milk of politics. And it's the mother's milk of nonprofits also. And Les knew this, and he was a fundraiser for many organizations because he knew that without money, none of these things could survive. And so I'm sure many of you know about, Les's willingness to go and ask for money. And that's a difficult thing to do. Fast forward 20 years from then, and Angela and I were pregnant together. We were both having little baby girls, and we sort of had a race. Actually, Sophie was supposed to be born first, but somehow Terry popped out 2 days early. And our families became really close. We spent a lot of time together. In fact, we went with Angela and Lester and baby Terry and baby Sophie to Jamaica, to the house that Les and his brother Ken owned in Jamaica when the girls were just 5 months old. And he swam in that ocean along with Jerry at that time. The ocean there seemed a little bit scary to me, so I never went in the ocean, but I went in the little pool that they had, and we went in there with the girls and had a wonderful vacation. And as somebody mentioned before, if you can travel with somebody, that's a real test of friendship. And we traveled with Angela and Lester and the kids over the years, and so that's and always had a great time. And I must say that Angela usually was the spark plug of like, well, why don't we go to Turkey or China? And so we had these adventures together, and Lester is a lot of fun. Angela, also lots of fun. In fact, often Lester and I would get tired at the end of the day, but Jerry and Angela would go out and drink and go out on the town, which is like not high on my agenda. But when we were in Turkey one time, we rented a van to drive around the countryside, and this was a very newfangled item they had in the van was a video player. And Angela thought, oh, this would be a great thing to expose the kids to a video in the car. And when she proceeded to pull the shades down in the middle of our road through Turkey, Jerry just lost it. Like, how can you possibly watch a video or have the kids watch a video while we're driving through the countryside? And Lester, in true Lester style, kind of smoothed everything over, and we got through that. I think we didn't watch a video. And off we went, and I think that I remember that because it was the only time that I remember any problem with traveling with the Silvermans. We always had a great time, and we liked doing the same thing. So we were just, except for the nightlife and the day life, and then we could manage that because Jerry and and Angela would go off. Anyway, I will, from my perspective, the Sholem story, getting to Sholem, was a little bit different than previously presented, because I was working on Lester asking him, we were talking about, like our children's Jewish education when the kids were like not even ready to go to Sholem. And I told him about Sholem, and I said, it's secular Jewish. And he said, how can it be Jewish but not religious? And I mean, it was a concept that he could not comprehend at all. And I said, well, the kids learn about their history and their culture, and whatever religious thing they want to learn, they don't have to learn it at Sholem. They can learn it wherever they want. And finally he thought, and I said, are you religious? Are you really religious? And he says, well, okay, I'll try it. So I think that Lester he started out and was going to Sholem before that December dilemma occasion. It's just that he wasn't very vocal about anything until then, and that's when people remembered. Anyway, he continued, I have to say, in fundraising and thinking about fundraising for Sholem until the day he died. And we will all miss Les in his political life, his social life, and his Jewish life, because he was at his core so Jewish, and he enjoyed all things Jewish. He enjoyed going to Chabad, even though it was religious, and he wasn't really religious, but he loved tradition. And for that, I love Lester for all of the parts of his life. Thank you.
On behalf of the family, also would like to thank whoever provided this venue, which is just beautiful, and we've had a gorgeous day for this to happen, and so thank you for this. The next speaker is Kelly Stroman, Executive Director of the Downtown Business and Professional Association of Manhattan Beach. Yes? I'm being waved at from way in the back. Do I have a yes or a no? Okay, good, great. Okay, take your time. We're good. We're good. Parking's paid till when? We're good. And then just a couple more brief speakers after that. Thanks for your patience. Hi. Hi, I'm Lawrence.
Nice to meet you.
Too. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Wow. Okay, I've been working the front door. I think I greeted most of you. I heard my name. Somebody goes, Kelly, get up there. So I started flying. Thank you. I'm really out of shape. I'm out of breath. That's a problem. All right. I am Kelly Stroman. I'm the Executive Director for Downtown Manhattan Beach for the Business Association. I've had the pleasure of working with Les for many, many years. But my journey with Les and the Silverman family started, I'm still out of breath. That's horrible. Started way before I started as a volunteer in the school district and the Ed Foundation with Les, and then as a patient. I started years ago. My previous doctor had told me that I had reached trifocal vision at the age of 40, and I thought that was a really cruel joke. I thought there was no way I could be trifocal. I didn't know that existed. And so I decided to go to Les. My boys and I started seeing him as patients. He confirmed that I was trifocal. But I had options. And so he said, look, you're a beautiful young lady and you're vivacious. You need to have contact lenses. So it's time for you to wear contact lenses. And I'm like, okay, if Les says contacts, then I need to wear contacts. So he encouraged me to see the world, the entire world. And sure enough, that's what contacts did for my life. Soon after that, the position of Executive Director for the Business Association came up. I didn't even know it existed. A couple people in this audience, Amy Howarth and Margaret Toll, told me to throw my hat in the ring, and I interviewed, and Les missed the group interview. And so he said, come to my office. I'm going to interview you. You're going to talk to me. And so I went from a patient to all of a sudden an interviewee. I showed up. He put me in his chair, shined the bright light on my face. I felt like Meet the Parents, you know, when Robert De Niro interviewed Ben Stiller in the lie detector test. That's what it felt like. Anyways, needless to say, apparently it worked, and here I am today. I've had the pleasure of working with this wonderful group and Les for 4.5 years, and it's been quite a journey. Part of my duty as executive director is to disseminate information. So when the news came last week of this tragic news, I had to call people, I had to email people, I had to text people, and I have never in my life been so overwhelmed with so many emails and so much information. So many of you replied with just great, very gracious messages and good thoughts. And someday I will share all those with you, Angela, and the family, but it's been remarkable. And there was a recurring theme in all the messages that came in, and that was everybody absolutely knew Les. They loved Les. He was iconic in this community, and everybody was shocked and stunned. And I know that when I found out the news, I said, this can't be true, and everybody has had the same reaction. So we're all here today. We are overwhelmed by all of you being here. We knew this was going to be a phenomenal turnout. When I started speaking with Angela last week, all she wanted was for everybody to know. She wanted everybody in the community to hear about this, to celebrate Les, to come and be a part of this. So I thank all of you for taking time to be here today. There's a couple other things that I do want to mention. They're fun anecdotes about Les. Les was one of the original tenants in Metlocks. He signed on, according to the Metlocks people, he signed on way before the construction was finished. He had a vision of opening up an office in downtown Manhattan Beach and being a part of this community. He was already very involved in countless community groups, but he had the vision with his personality of opening up a store where people could come, they could go, they could share stories, they could come by, they could talk. And so he grabbed the space on Manhattan Beach Boulevard, which has kind of become, an iconic space. It's a welcoming area. It's a gateway to downtown. And somehow Les had that vision and knew that in advance. Having served on the board of directors for the Downtown Business Association, he served multiple terms. I didn't have a chance to go back to the beginning, but I think he might have even been there since the beginning. He had almost a flawless attendance record. He didn't miss hardly any meetings. If he did, it was simply for a vacation somewhere. When I needed him to speak for city council or go to planning commission or anything on any issue, he was always there with very poignant words. He knew exactly what to say, how to say it, and who to say it to. I know some of you have been the recipient of those words and not always perhaps, happy to see his face show up always, but he had a way with words, and we all know that. And the remarkable thing about Les is he never judged you. He would tell you his opinion. He would listen to yours, but you were never judged. There was no grudges held against anybody, and it was kind of a free society of all of us being independent and having our own individualism. For myself, he helped inspire me. He challenged me all the time. I would send out emails, to my board of directors. He'd call me and he'd ask me 1,000 questions and questions and questions. And I'd be like, Les, seriously? Just read the email. And he'd be like, Kelly, I can't read the email. And I'd be like, why not? I can't read it. I'm like, then you need a new eye doctor. Get new glasses, Les. And he'd laugh. He'd laugh that laugh that we all can hear in our minds right now, that we all miss terribly. It was kind of a little bit of a laugh and a cackle all in one. And he'd kind of throw his body back. Ah, you could kind of tell he was laughing. Yes, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. He was one of a kind. He was known for downtown, for walking around downtown when he wasn't seeing patients or working in the store. He would go out, he would walk down the boulevard, he would walk down, he'd say hi to the merchants, he'd walk in, he'd get a free cup of coffee at Chase Bank and sit there and shoot the breeze with the girls, talk about investment properties. He'd go into the retail merchants and talk to them and find out how they're doing. He'd talk about how high his rent was and he didn't like it very much. Over and over and over again. But he did it with a smile. He did it with passion. He constantly advocated for all the business owners in downtown Manhattan Beach, particularly for the small business owners like himself. He was all about fairness and parity and making sure that everybody had a fair shake. He talked about his family relentlessly. AJ, where are you now, AJ? There you are. Hi, AJ. Sophia. Angela, he loved you. He talked about you so affectionately. He was so enormously proud of each one of you and everything you have done. You are so very fortunate to have had him in your life. Very, very fortunate. He's one of a kind. Les was very generous with his time, his opinions and his wisdom and his resources. He was always giving back to the community, whether through a silent auction or through donating his time and being a part of every group in this community that you can possibly imagine. He was a relentless supporter and advocate for everybody. He would go by the farmer's market, which he helped create. He was on the original board that helped create the farmer's market. He would sit in the farmer's market tent. The farmer's market manager who was here today shared with me yesterday that he would just go sit down, start talking and eating food. He liked his warm veggie broth every week, and he would just talk about life and about things and about his kids and what's going on. He had no problem sharing his life, and he wanted to know about yours. He truly was interested in every single person in this room. I think what we can all take away from today with Les is that he is a remarkable man who has touched every single person in this room in a very, very positive way. He has changed all of us. He's made a mark. And I think it's very important for all of us to live like Les, to have that smile, that laughter, to find the joy, to find the reasoning, to listen, to be involved, and to give that currency of your personal time and your attention to everybody around you. That's so important. So here's to living like Les. One last thing that Angela asked me to do real quickly. She asked me last night to thank everybody who has made this day and this evening possible. Shade Hotel for graciously opening up your courtyard and your hotel to us. Michael Zislis, wherever you are now, I think you're back in the lobby. Thank you very much. Fresh Brothers, your pizza is roaming around. The Rotary International and the Downtown Business and Professional Association all has helped to make this afternoon possible. So we thank you. Continue to enjoy, and thank you for being here very much.
What she said, yeah. Next is Rabbi Mark Hyman from Congregation Tefereth Jacob of Manhattan Beach, followed by Steve Blinder. And is there a Rabbi Barbara in the house? After Steve Blinder.
If you want to have a short program, don't have the rabbi come up last. We're here in this place of sacred memory to do two things. To remember and give honor to the memory and legacy of Les Silverman, and to give comfort, support, strength, and love to his family that we know well from the beach, and his brother and sisters, and all their family that's come to be with us from back east to lay him to rest today. I know Les a long time, but I remember one time when I was officiating at a memorial that I'd read a particular poem at the end of the service in the voice of the departed, and he loved it so much he wanted a copy, so I gave him a copy. And I want us all to somewhat close our eyes and hear Les saying these words to us today. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around others and give them what you need to give me. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your joys, multiplying your good deeds. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and not just in your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, when you remember me, remember what our Torah and our wisdom teaches. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Les was also a great kibbutzer. Likes to joke around a lot. I don't have to translate the word kibbutz. And part of me wanted to come up and tell a joke about a rabbi and a minister walking to a bar, but I do remember we're talking about the fact that even if there was a Jewish guy living on a desert island, he had to have 2 synagogues. The one he goes to and the one he wouldn't step foot in. Now, Les had at least 3, although there's another Rabbi Barber I haven't met yet, so maybe he had 4. So either he was trying to make sure he got it right, but he wasn't sure. He liked to cover his bases. But each of us had a special relationship with him, be it Chabad, Rabbi Yossi, CTJ with Rabbi Kalev and me, Hershey Hardman at Sholem. Les liked to be part of everything that was interesting and compelling to him. And I was honored to have him sneak into high holidays on a regular basis. I want to remember him with a song, with a poem, and I'll end with that. It's a great poetess named Hannah Senesh, who in 1939 escaped pre-war-ridden Hungary and came to the Promised Land, but volunteered to go back as a paratrooper into Hungary. And she parachuted back in and was captured and ultimately put to death. But she left for us some beautiful poetry. And one of her poems, put to music, expresses, which I think was a lot about the music of Les's life. The sand, the sea, life. And with your permission, I'd like to share it. It's called Eli, Eli. Eli, Eli, Shelo Yigamer Leolam, Hachol V'Hayam, Rish Rosh Shel Hamayim, Berak HaShamayim, Tfilat Ha'adam, Hachol V'Hayam, Rish Rosh Shel Hamayim, Berak HaShamayim, Tfilat Ha'adam. O Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. We say, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory, the legacy of this righteous, this sweet, this Zis Neshama, this sweet man, always be a blessing for us. And together let us say, Amen. Thank you.
Steve Blinder. Waiting in the wings, Rabbi Barbara.
So, first of all, I wish I had $1 for every time Lester said, "Don't call me Shirley." I haven't thought about that, Sophie, but you ever excited to wake up in the morning and say, tomorrow's going to be just a fantastic day. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. So I went to bed last night thinking tomorrow is going to be a crummy day. And sure enough, here we are. I'm thinking there's going to be sadness and people crying and people depressed, and I'm going to bury my friend. So that's going to be a bad day. Lo and behold, at about 3 a.m., I finished a dream or whatever, and I woke up and I looked at the alarm clock. It's 3 in the morning. What am I going to do? I'm wide awake. And I walked into my office, and I thought, oh, my God, there's that eclipse. Any of you guys see the eclipse this morning? So I grabbed my camera gear, tripod, good camera stuff, and I drove down to the cliffs of Palos Verdes, and sure enough, it's starting. And this magnificent blue moon, blood moon eclipse, and I set up my tripod, and I start looking for the perfect, magnificent shot to compose it. And I'm setting up my gear, and I was wearing my glasses. I have contacts on now because it was early in the morning. I put my glasses on, and I'm setting up, and I've got it. And what happens? A lens from my glass popped off into the dirt. And I picked it up, and I kind of shoved it back into the lens, and it popped off again. I'm like, I'm going to get the shot, and I'm having my spiritual moment talking to Les and the eclipse and stuff. And then I realized I bought these glasses from him 20 years ago. And so I'm trying to get this award-winning magical shot, and I'm like, I'm sure of it. This has never happened before. And I'm absolutely sure that Les is screwing with me. He's just messing with me. He's like, Steve, how are you going to get those fixed now? So my wife Renee and Angela were also pregnant together, and we had our first child, our girls, together. And Lester and I became very, very close friends. And he came, he said, you know what, this is this parenthood thing. We didn't plan for this, and we're trying to build our empires and get our businesses going, but now we've got wives and we've got daughters, and our wives are talking about getting pregnant again, and what are we going to do for a release here? And I'm like, we'd go to Dodger games, and he said, why don't we go to some NBA games? And I'm like, well, those Clippers games, they're pretty reasonable because the Laker tickets are ridiculous. And Lester's like, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Let's get some package and go to a bunch of basketball games. We can go out, have some beers, get away from the girls and get away from the families, do our manly thing. And so I said, so what do you want to get? I mean, like maybe a $25 tickets or $30 tickets. And he's like, Steve, don't be a schmuck. And I'm like, you're right. It's the Clippers. We can get much better seats. We could maybe get the $50 tickets. He's like, you're an idiot, aren't you? And I said, I'm not following. He said, let's get the $10 seats. The Clippers are so bad, and we'll sneak down every game. So we started doing this and going regularly, and I realized, like, Lester's friends with the Peanut Man. He's friends with the ushers, and he knows everybody. That's his personality. He doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or a garbage collector, Lester will befriend you, and soon enough, he will find out everything about you. What are your biggest fears in life? What's your net worth? What's your mortgage payment? Sometimes I'd leave Angela and Les's house, and I'd go like, God, the guy knows more about me than my wife. And it's like, most people are like, that's none of your business, my net worth or how much I paid for my car. And but with Lester, you would just feel comfortable telling him things. So one of these basketball games, we're kind of trying to sneak down, and he goes, let's go down there and say hello to Billy. I'm like, what do you mean, who's Billy? He's like, Billy, he's down there on the floor. I'm like, Billy Crystal? He's like, yeah, Billy Crystal. I'm like, you're insane. You're Meshuggah. We're going to get arrested. You can't, there's security. Steve, just relax. Your wife's an attorney. She'll bail us out. And I'm like grabbing him by the shirt. And he's like, no, let's really, he'll remember me. So I'm kind of following him. Sure enough, we pass the guy. He's like, oh, I'm going to say hello to my Billy, my friend. Sure enough, we get down to the floor where these 7-foot players are, and Billy, it's Lester from New York. And they hug, shake hands, hug, and they're catching up with the old days. I'm like, I don't believe this guy. I don't believe this guy Lester. How does he pull that stuff off? So we walk back to our seats, and it's not a special thing for Lester because he has this ability to plug in to people to a degree that other people you talk about what's your favorite color or what's the weather. Lester had this uncanny ability to get right to the meat of who you were, and he would make you feel comfortable coming clean about that. I'll give you one more little story. He was such a people person that he had a fantastic memory, first of all. He could remember details of a story. You could talk about something 5 years ago. He's like, hey, remember that employee that you were having that problem with? And the thing, I finally found a way of da-da-da-da. And like, Lester, how do you remember this crap, So I took a vacation with my wife, and we saw magnificent things in Botswana. And I actually took some great pictures, won a couple of awards, and I'm trying to share this with Lester and the stories of the elephants and the lions, and look at this, and this is great. And he's like, yeah, that's nice. I'm like, I mean, this is a lion. He was going to eat me, and I snapped his picture, and unbelievable. And yeah, that's a good story. That's nice. I'm like, what's the deal? You don't? And he's like, Steve. He's like, these are animals. I prefer people. So at first I felt like I want to share, and I'm so proud, and and then I thought, oh my God, to me that defines Lester. He loved people. He loved, it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. He wanted to find out everything he could about you, and he made you feel good about being you. So, to my friend Lester, fix my glasses.
I think perhaps the elusive Rabbi Barbara has not joined us. No, going once, twice. Last speaker scheduled is Peter Yolen, President of Leadership of Manhattan Beach. Steve, I think you might have had the last word. No? Angie? No. All right. Family? Come on up. Come on up.
Hi everyone, I'm Jarrett. I'm Lester's niece. I wasn't going to say anything because I can't do this without crying, but I would be remiss if I did not get up here and say something to all of you who were his family out here and his friends and the people who loved him out here. And he was really a very special person, as you all know. And he moved out here a long time ago, and we didn't see him nearly enough, and we didn't see Angela, and we didn't see the kids. But we were all very close. And family was so important to Lester. And I always knew how much he loved us and how much we meant to him and how proud he was of us. And I think, as you've heard from everybody else up here on this stage, that was really his special talent. He was so full of love and joy. And even every time we saw him, he would say something that was so inappropriate, your mouth would just drop and you'd be like, oh my God, I want to kill you, but I love you. I don't have to tell everybody how hard this is and how shocking this is and how much he will be missed. But we all loved him so much, and it's amazing to see all of you here and to know that he was just as loved here as he was by his family. So thank you, everybody.
I had prepared something, and I will be brief because I know there's so many people here. I'm Amy Howarth. And right now I have the privilege of being the mayor in our town in Manhattan Beach, for those of you who are from somewhere else. And I want you to know, the family, I want everybody to know that there isn't a time for me in Manhattan Beach where there wasn't Les. And I can't remember the first time I met him or saw him because he was there. And I don't know if it was at a Rotary meeting or a PTA meeting or a Leadership Manhattan Beach meeting. He was there. He showed up. And especially if there was some food, he was always there if there was some food. I'm just saying, all right? I also can't believe with all the rabbis speaking, nobody has used the word mensch yet, because that man there is the definition of a mensch. He helped build my sense of what community is. The reason all of you are here, and I know most of you who are from Manhattan Beach, is because of someone like Les. He was a builder, and his power came from his gigantic heart, his enormous intellect, and his willingness to work to build something. He had vision. And yeah, he'd push back. Okay, we were of the same political persuasion. That didn't matter, because if he wanted something, that he would let you know. And you know how Les would be. He would kind of start in nice and he's always nice. But it would be this, okay, what did you think about? And he would go on and on. It's Les, I heard you, Les, I love you, Les. I wish you were still here to push back on us, to push back on me, because we were all better for it. And the two last things I want to say is, we are all so surprised. We've heard so many wonderful things today. Les had something that is so needed in our world, and that's kindness, right? He's kind, and he was patient. And I think he forgave me when I wasn't kind, because I think he was non-judgmental. But I am going to try to be more like Les. I am going to try to be kinder. It's not about me, although usually it is, because I'm a politician. And that's the thing about Les. He had real power. It wasn't about his power. It was about what he could do for other people. The last thing I want to say, though, is Angie, his darling. How touched I was to hear you up here speaking and saying, my darling, after those years of marriage. And AJ, I can't even recognize you. You're such a handsome, tall man. Except I saw it on his page over and over again. And Sophie, how proud he was of you all. And we can't bring your father back, but I hope these words have helped you, and we will hold them with you when you need them. Because Les was always here in this community. And I pledge to you that this community will be here for you. And we hope you will be a part of our community. And as we say in my synagogue and in my religion, may you find some comfort in the days to come, and may we all be there for you in the days to come. Thank you.
Anyone else from the family or friends? Angie, we good. Jan is.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allison. I'm Lester's niece. I had no idea until after he passed away just how influential he was in this community and to so many people, because I just knew him as Uncle Lester. And let me tell you, when I first found out about his passing, I told my boyfriend, my Uncle Lester just died. And he said to me, "Is this the same uncle that you said you wish your father was more like?" And I paused because I couldn't even believe I had told him about Uncle Lester. And I said, yes, that's him. And what made him so special, like everyone has already said, is his ability to connect with people, no matter who they were, young, old. It didn't matter who you were, where you were from. I want to tell you about my earliest memory of Uncle Lester. I don't remember it exactly, but you'll get the idea. It was Hanukkah, and we were at my Aunt Alice's house. And I was a very young child. I was sitting on the floor opening up my gift. I don't know if Uncle Lester gave it to me or what, but I know that he spoke to me, and I looked up at him, and he was smiling at me. And that's one time I can say I truly felt cared for and loved and appreciated and recognized. And it was a very special moment for me as a child and even now as an adult, because those moments don't come around often enough. I think Angela did a great job of describing him and his upbringing. And Sophie, of course, that was amazing. You just really kept it fun and upbeat, and that's exactly what Uncle Lester was. A fun prankster kind of guy, always joking around, always laughing, always including people, and just having a good time. I'd like to conclude with a thought regarding his zest for life. I think that we all have different things to gain from this. Obviously, we all want to take the good, which is that kindness and that enthusiasm and that fun-loving type of person. We can all learn from that, obviously. But on a different note, I think that this is a time for people to really learn an important lesson. And that is that we have a responsibility to each other. We need to make an effort to be there for one another as much as possible. If not now, more than ever. Obviously, you know, the family is dwindling down. We aren't making babies at the rate we used to. And we really have to be there for each other. So I'm trying to recollect everything I wanted to say, but really, I just want everybody to know that we should be out there enjoying ourselves and being there for one another. But on the flip side, let's not get carried away, because we're all we have. So let's do our best to make the best decisions possible, and remember that there are other people in this world that count on us. And I guess that's it. I don't know what else to say.
I just want to carry through on the theme that we just heard, and that's caring for each other and being there for each other. So one of the things that we can do right now is to help pay for the funeral costs and the unexpected costs that unfortunately the family is having to bear right now. And, you know, nobody plans. Some people do. Some people, you know, have little insurance policies for this and that. But in this case, you know, these costs are coming at a time when Angela has to, you know, has to pay for costs for education for the kids and many other things. And so these funeral costs are really a burden. I mean, beyond, you know, what one would think. So it's in the invitations that many of you may have seen, the emails. There's a link to a website where you can contribute money and actually be there for the Silvermans and for Lester, and taking a note from Lester and channeling Lester, because he would be the person at one of our funerals, just reminding us to actually do it and not just sit here and feel sympathetic. And if you don't have that, if you don't have the link, it's very simple. I just did it. You can just Google Lester Silverman funeral costs and Lester Silverman funeral, and third down the link. Pardon? Oh, it's on the screen. It's on the screen here, but if you're at home and you haven't done it, and I think you can, if you wanted to, you could come here afterwards and probably click on that little thing, QRC code, but you can just do it at home. You can just Google Lester Silverman funeral costs and be really generous, because this is one thing that you actually can do to channel Lester and help the family. So I just wanted to end with that. We all love Lester, and it's unbelievable that he's not here. We all, at least I do, I keep expecting him to pop in, like, fix my glasses, whatever. Anyway, so please do that and have, I think, am I going to be the last one? No, I'm not going to be the last one. Anyway, please don't forget to do that and really care about each other.
So a lot of you guys don't know me so much, but I've been working for Dr. Silverman since I was 18. I will be 28 this year, so he saw me grow up into the woman I am today. And I just wanted to, kind of read something that I dedicated to him, because he was a great man in my life. I know you're in a better place, cracking jokes and telling it how it is. I am the woman I am today because of you. My love and passion for my field was ignited by you. You gave me the chance and believed in me when I was just really working at Taco Bell and trying to get out of there. You were my doctor first, and then you became my boss, and then you were my family. You saw me walk down the aisle and say, I do. And you're always very understanding. I was diagnosed with an enlarged liver at the early ages of my early 20s, so I was very sick for a long time. And if I had to call out, he was always very understanding, and he never once really got upset if I had to take a long leave of absence. So when you say he's very understanding and caring, he was very understanding and caring. You were the light to Metlocks, and anyone can hear you a mile away the moment you saw someone you knew. We would be in the middle of a meeting, and he saw someone across the street at Vaughn's and would literally run out the door and just scream at the top of his lungs, like, hey, come over here! So that was just him. You heard him a mile away. I will never step into the office having the same feelings as when you were there. But one thing is for sure, is you will never be forgotten. Your office will be a tribute to the great man that you were. Your office is your legacy, and I'm really just honored to have been a part of it. My heart does go out to you, Angela, Sophie, and AJ. I've seen you guys since you were kids. I saw you guys grow up. So, when I was a kid myself. So I really do love you guys. And I know he was very proud of you guys. He always talked about you guys all the time. And so we know he's in a better place. And You guys need any of your glasses fixed? We're still there. I'm still there to help you guys out, and really do appreciate everyone coming out, everyone going into the office, letting us know, giving all these stories about how of a great man we all know he was. But we do ask, I know Angela feels very strong about it, as I do. You know, us at Look Optometry, Dr. Silverman instilled this quality of care that he wanted us to give to all our patients. And that will still be there, very much so, as a way of really representing what he wanted for his office. And we will be there, and I hope everyone in here who wears glasses, contacts, whatever it is, you know, even if you don't, you know, can't see you because of the exam, bring your prescription. We'll get you glasses. We'll get you contacts. Okay? We'll still be there. Thank you.
Anyone else? Last. Yes? Sure. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm actually, my name is Tony Shar, and I'm one of AJ's best friends. And I didn't know Les very personally, but from what I hear, you know, he really put his heart out for everyone, and it's very special. And knowing the unfortunate circumstances that happened to your family, and you, AJ, especially, you know, after AJ told me the news, I was with my father, and I was thinking how something like this can really happen to anybody. And, you know, as I analyzed the situation, I really saw that, you know, it's very important that everyone appreciates who they have and the privileges that they're given. So, you know, I mean, especially in your family and your health, it's very important to really take charge and put your, you know, foot forward to really make a stance and be present in your loved one's life, because, you know, you really don't know what's going to happen. And so, you know, I know that, you know, AJ's dad, Lester, is looking over him, and your mom and your sister. And, you know, one thing for you, Angela, is that the more you hurt, the more he suffers. And so if you're happy and proud and show that, you know, you can really show love to your family, he's over and he's watching over you, and he's going to be protecting you along your journey. And so I'd like to just, you know, send some good thoughts to Lester, to your family, and if everyone could just give me a moment and just send some positive thoughts towards AJ and his family. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Al Muratsuchi, and I have the privilege of representing Manhattan Beach in the California State Legislature. I would not be in the legislature without Les. You know, in fact, I just saw Les just 3 weeks ago. I think it was 3 weeks ago when I got my new glasses. And, you know, I have a story to share, which to me captures Les. You know, I thought I was there for a 30-minute eye exam. And then, you know, he got that contraption over my face, and he's examining my eyesight. And then he starts grilling me about, how do you feel about rent control? And he starts, you know, it was true Les Silverman, you know, fighting for the underdog, fighting for the underprivileged. And, you know, my appointment that I thought was going to be only 30 minutes ended up to be about an hour and a half. Yeah, I got off easy, yeah. And I still need to pick up my reading glasses. So, you know, I came down from Sacramento because I wanted to be here to join all of you in paying our respects to Les. You know, to me, I mean, Les is such a great man, you know, not just because, as we all see, all the people that turned out to show their love and respect for everyone's favorite eye doctor in little downtown Manhattan Beach. But, you know, for me, it's like Sophie said, his passion for social justice. You know, he never forgot where he came from. You know, he's hosted many, you know, fundraisers for me. We talked about fundraisers earlier. In his beautiful home in Manhattan Beach, beautiful home in Hermosa Beach. But he always was fighting for the underdog. And, you know, I think that is a lesson that Les would want all of us to remember, to not forget where we've come from and to always fight for the less privileged. To me, that is the spirit of Les Silverman that I will remember and that I will hold dear in my heart. Thank you very much, Les.
Well, that's hard to follow. I'm proud to have known Lester. I respect his commitment to social action, how he always spoke his mind on behalf of the underdog, on behalf of those who may have been underprivileged. And I am very grateful for the privilege of having been a part of this really extraordinary program today. Thank you to everyone who spoke. Thank you to everyone who has come here to pay honor to this very fine person who has been taken from us in a very untimely way. Let's all take a little piece of him with us as we leave. As long as he's remembered, that's how long he'll live with us. Thank you.